be 44 houses. There's 6 semi-detached 3-beds and the rest are a mix of 3-bed detached and 4-bed detached houses. There hasn't been a new development that's been this size 22 or 25 years. This is mine England's first development. This will be one site here. Purchase price of this was 525,000. We're looking at about 100 grand for all the professional fees, maybe a little bit more. You're looking at probably 3 to 5 years to realise profits. If this didn't have outline planning, there's no way on earth I would have paid 525 for it. I would have paid a lot less. A lot less. That's probably site 2. We scrapped the plan because it was rubbish. A couple of years ago when Gwen and myself looked at this, it didn't stack. You make no money. Like I said, the property market went crazy round here. We've got a fighting chance here. Third bit is this bit down here, which is probably the best bit. When they released like the plots to go for sale, they had people camping overnight to reserve plots. Basically anything that doesn't have planning permission on it is not really worth a lot of money. People that sell parcels of land, those are the worst type of people to buy from because they're wanting you to buy something. It's got no assurances on it. Gwen and I probably know literally 2-3% of everything about developments. I'm learning something new every day, and the only way that I'm learning is by doing it and living and breathing. And have we made mistakes? Yeah, 100%.
What's good, YouTube? We're back. We met up with Hannah Mills. She showed us a bit of land where it's her first development, but she's going to be building 44 houses on there. Make sure you watch this video to the end because she's going to show us around the site. She's going to tell us about all the figures. She's going to tell us how she works out the numbers and how she even comes across finding deals like this. And she also tells us how to get the knowledge to start doing deals like this for yourself and much more as well. So make sure you watch it to the end.
There'll be 44 houses. 6 semi-detached 3-beds and the rest are a mix of 3-bed detached and 4-bed detached houses. This is the old hospital site. So there used to be a hospital where you can see the outline of that retaining wall is there. It's basically in the 1980s it burnt down. Nobody knows why it burnt down or how. Apparently it was an arson attack. We looked at it a number of times but it just never really stacked. And then COVID came and the property market went round here and suddenly now this site became feasible to develop on. Development costs were so high beforehand compared to the sale prices, you wouldn't have made a profit. Actually, you would have made a loss on this site, a big one. Whereas now the house price has gone up so much that there's margin in there to develop. Yeah. So this is the hospital site. It's basically split into 3 zones. This is the road, the Rickos Road that you can see from the top of the tree line in here. Yeah. The access route is going to be just kind of where that big tree is over there. So we're just going to basically keep the existing access. This will be one site here, so one phase, because it's pretty much on one level. Right behind you, you see where the houses are over there, the boundary. Basically that's probably site 2 up in the right hand side, but obviously you can see that we've got a big problem in terms of the topography of the land. It's not flat, so that's going to be quite a challenging area. And then the third bit is this bit down here, which is probably the best bit because it's all completely flat.
Yeah. What's the number on something like this?
So purchase price of this was 525,000. It had provisional outline planning, but we scrapped the plan because it was rubbish. We're going in for outline planning in the next couple of weeks for this, and then we'll be going in for full planning. But I mean, like just the cost alone for like the planning fees and surveys, bat surveys, ecological surveys. With developments in Wales with 10 houses and above, you need what they call a SUDS report. So basically it's surface water drainage. You need a separate, it's a separate planning phase for that. So you need SUDS reports. We've had to get a bat survey, but we've had to wait till the end of April, beginning of March, because that's when bats are in season. Yeah. Probably all in all, with all the surveys and everything, we're looking at about 100 grand for all the professional fees, maybe a little bit more. The architect fees are quite substantial on something like this. We went for the most expensive architects because we wanted to create something that wasn't just kind of like your run-of-the-mill Barratt homes. We wanted this to be a really exclusive, not luxurious site, but really different, well built, slightly different designs, like really cool. So we're waiting for the house type to come through from this, but you don't need to put house types on your plans to the council. You just need to have like a layout, a clear layout, and obviously all your surveys and everything.
Say for example, like you were just driving past and you saw a bit of land like this.
Yeah.
What goes through your head and how do you work out the numbers and what needs?
Yeah, great shout. So like I said, a couple of years ago when Gwen and myself looked at this, it didn't stack. So Corey introduced me to this site because she lived around here and it's always been vacant. I mean, people walk their dogs here. Nobody's really done anything. Yes, people have owned it, but as you can see, like we could clearly drive up. Yeah. It's not particularly closed in. We looked at this a number of years ago and it just didn't stack. It didn't stack for the reason of, in terms of what they wanted for the purchase price. Originally they wanted 650 for this. We managed to get them down a little bit, which is great. The cost to build houses when we originally looked at it was something stupid like 180 grand or 200 grand to build a 4-bedroom house because of the topography and things like that, and yet we were probably selling them for around about 220, 240. Which it just wasn't worth it. It doesn't stack, because when you link in all your additional fees, linking services, roads, highways, you make no money. But like I said, the property market went crazy around here, and we're looking at 4-bedroom houses around, I think our price point is 360. Literally, it's gone mental. But it's also helped that the fact that there's no new developments around here, which many people will be like, well, there's a reason there's no new developments. And there was, because they just weren't affordable. But now it's affordable and people are looking for detached houses. You guys have bought around here yourself. It's heavily dependent on terraced houses, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's absolutely fine. But we're starting to see a demographic, especially generational, in people that are probably early 30s, low 40s, that are in the financial position now where they can afford detached houses. But there's no detached houses here. Already established families. And so, based on our research with the sites that are going on in Aberdare, Merthyr and around there, we think that this site is gonna do pretty well. Prime example, right? The site in Aberdare, when they released like the plots to go for sale, they had people camping overnight to reserve plots, like in Aberdare. And there's nothing wrong with Aberdare, it's a great place, but we kind of thought, well, wait a minute, if that's going on there, then why can't we do it this side of the valley? There hasn't been a new development that's been this size, this side of the valley, I think it's 22 or 25 years ago. So it's time. And the ironic thing is, actually, this is mine and Gwen's first development. So we've proper gone in like at the deep end. But I will say, we've employed a project manager who's got like loads and loads of years experience to guide us through this whole process, because otherwise we'd be screwed. So we've got a guy that we pay every month, and he organises all the surveys, he organises the architects, he organises everything. He project manages this whole phase. And we come in and make decisions, go, yeah, okay, we like the layout. Oh yeah, no, we don't like this, or we don't like that. This is what we think we should do. Whereas everything in the background, everything that we don't know about, he runs for us. And yes, okay, that's an added expense, but it also means that we don't make any mistakes. So this is this site, which is, it's pretty incredible. I'm really excited about this one.
What's the sort of timescale?
To be honest with you, I don't know if we're actually even going to develop this out. We may look at planning gain option. For the pure reason of, you're looking at probably 3 to 5 years to realise profits. And whilst we could make more profit, we could also get money in planning gain within a year, and make that money work a lot quicker and a lot harder, and make just as more money than if we develop this out, plus the stress. So I think we'll try and sell to a larger, maybe potentially if we can, housing provider. I don't know. If not, we'll develop it out and we'll go on that journey. But either way, it's quite an exciting site. Sorry, in answer to your earlier question, what do you do? Do you drive around and find sites like this? Essentially, yes. But it's also word of mouth. So like I said, I mentioned Corrie again. People will come to her and go, oh, do you know so-and-so is looking to sell this? Or, oh, I saw a parcel of land up wherever. Have you looked at it? Because I know you're interested in building houses. So local knowledge is key, and having somebody that's on the ground can sometimes prove like awesome. And then also just driving around, it's really easy.
Because we see somewhere we live, and I wouldn't even know where to start with somewhere.
So we always start with land registry, title plans, who owns it, has it ever been on the market beforehand, putting the address online, can you ever see any listings beforehand, and then our ultimate goal is get in contact with whoever owns it. If it's not on a title plan or anything, then it could be council owned, which is not a good or a bad thing. Then
you just sort of work out, all right, how much a house is going for, how much like flats.
Yeah, so basically anything that doesn't have planning permission on it is not really worth a lot of money. People that sell parcels of land that think that it will sell for a lot of money if it gets planning permission on it, for me those are the worst type of people to buy from, because they're wanting you to buy something that's got no assurances on it. If you're buying a parcel of land that had outline planning on it, kind of like this, then there's a history that you can look at and go, okay, right, the council have approved this, they've approved this, they've approved this, then we've got a fighting chance here. Whereas if this didn't have outline planning, there's no way on earth I would have paid 525 for it. I would have paid a lot less, a lot less. But it gives you that calculated risk that, you know, okay, the council are going to approve X, Y, Z, so I can take that risk to put down more money because there's a good chance I'm going to get planning.
And you just work out how much a house will cost And then how much?
Yeah, so there's great websites like propertydata.com. I think it's subscription based and it's generic, but it will tell you like it's basically a hub that's got all property data information on. So it has like builders costs in regions. So are they building for £1,000 per square meters or 2,000, 1,500? It will tell you the average rents in the area for 4-bed, 3-bed, 2-bed. It literally has every piece of property information that you want. So that's a really good tool. But to be honest with you, the absolute best knowledge is just ringing around speaking to builders. 100%. That's what I did. We went out and provisionally tendered for this site and said, look, we're looking to build 46 houses. I don't know, 8 4-beds, the rest 3 beds. How much would you build a house for right now, very roughly? And they basically came in around, I think it was about £1,600 to £1,800 per square metre at the time. So it kind of gave us an idea to factor into our spreadsheet, right, this is how much we're going to be paying. And then we've obviously got our contingencies and stuff. And it kind of gives you a baseline.
And you just whack on a few like tens of thousands for the roads and everything.
Yeah, contingencies and stuff. So again, that comes with experience of speaking to people that have done developments. So literally speak to as many people that have done developments to go, right, how much did your roads cost? What issues did you have with highways? You know, how wide did your roads have to be for waste collection and things like that? Did you face any issues with trees? What surveys did you have to have? Literally speak to as many people that are doing this as possible, because you'll gain so much knowledge in what to do and what not to do. Like I said, we're paying a project manager to do this and a couple of our other sites, and his knowledge alone has massively taught me loads, like absolute loads. So he used to do multi-billion-pound projects in Moscow, so this is a lot smaller, but the process is the same, and the way you go about it and the order of how you go about it is exactly the same. So working with him has been an absolute eye-opener, because you're like, right, okay, he'll come back and go, right, I've had 3 quotes, and you have like 3 or 4 quotes for everything, right? So I've had 3 quotes for landscaping, one's coming 30 grand, one's coming 50 grand, and one's coming 100 grand. I think you should go with the 40 grand one. The 30 grand one, I'm not sure on the credentials, and the 100 grand one is basically doing exactly the same service as this one. There's no difference. But just having his opinion to go, that's what I see. You know, we could have gone for the 100 grand one because, oh, they're charging 100 grand, so they must be the best one. Well, no, they're not. They're charging exactly the, you know, more, but they're doing the same job. So that's been key. Speak to anybody that's doing development, getting in around them, conversations, go and visit sites, speak to the builders that are on site, just literally soak up as much knowledge as possible, because Gwyn and I probably know literally 2-3% of everything about developments. I'm learning something new every day, and the only way that I'm learning is by doing it and living and breathing it. And have we made mistakes? Yeah, 100%. But also having people around you that know what they're doing prevents you from making really, really costly ones, and that's key. So yeah, this is a hospital site.
Sweet. Keep it updated.